All right, we're recording.
All right, let's do it, I guess.
3, 2,
5.
1. All right, welcome to episode number 1, the Real Shift podcast.
The first.
The
27-year awaited.
Yes. This is the Real Shift podcast. It's the story of life, loss, and the journey in between. So we're going to be talking about some real shift.
Some real shift.
And we're going to be covering things like relationships, life, loss, faith, everything in between.
All the shift.
So, Debra, why now? Why are we doing this now?
Well, I want to first say,
congratulations.
Finally, because
Yes.
we've been talking about this. I say 27 years. We've been sharers, I think, for 27 years.
Right.
Of all things.
I don't think they had podcasts
No.
27 years ago.
Well, it wasn't that long ago. Anyhow.
So for those that been friends of ours may know, but for those of you that don't know, it was just recently our 27th year anniversary, July 5th.
July
So
5th.
9,855 days, but who's counting?
You're a keeper.
So today, in honor of our 27-year anniversary, we're going to talk about relationship, marriage. So we're going to just share some of our thoughts. So it was 27 years ago on the 5th in La Jolla at the Chapel O' Love, or I don't know what the chapel's called, but one of those chapels. And we both said I do. And one of the vows that you take, and I think everyone's pretty familiar with it, and I was familiar with the vows when I got married at 18. I knew that one of them was going to be for better or for worse. But what I didn't know fully, as I do today, is what does that really mean, for better or for worse? And, what does that mean to you today that you didn't know 27 years ago?
What does it mean to you?
Well, what it means to me, I mean, there's a whole bunch. I mean, we can start with the for better parts. I have friends that are single. I have friends that are married.
There may be wine in here.
And
There isn't.
I do think men and women view marriage differently. When women get married, they're so happy for their friends. Congratulations. They're so happy. You hear shouting and cheers and things like that. And sometimes with guys, when they hear friends getting married, it's kind of like, oh, did you hear what happened to John? Or did you hear what happened to Danny?
I don't know. I think women do that too. It depends who the relationship is with. Because I've had some friends that they've announced they're getting married, and you're like, oh damn. But you're like, oh, yay. But inside you're thinking, dude, seriously? Like, I don't know if this is a good idea.
But in generals, I think it's just the way it's viewed differently. But so from that perspective, I think as guys get married, part of your brain is like, well, I'm used to being the CEO of my life. I make decisions when I want. I can do what I want, go where I want, buy what I want. And the day after that all changes. It's now like co-partnership. It's co-CEO, joint ventureship, down the middle.
You try.
And that's down the line. But I think, from a guy's point of view, that's the thinking is like, it's going to be totally different. So the for better or worse part, that can be part of that. But as a man now married 27 years, I can say the for better part is that you share your life with somebody. You share your life with somebody that sees everything from as close as you can get to somebody without them being inside your head. And sometimes they are inside your head, but I mean, you're sleeping together, you wake up to each other, all the holidays together, and you share those triumphs. You share the nightmares, you share the mediocre moments, you share the COVID days. Like, all of that happens with somebody who you can say, hey, remember when this happened? And that's the for better part. I think that sharing life and doing life with somebody is what the for better part is that I just couldn't see 27 years ago. But today I can say, honestly, that's an amazing part, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh, you're so sweet.
So that's what I would say. What would you say is the for better part?
The for better, I think for me truly has been the fact that you are my best friend. So conversations are easy. And I think that was one of the other reasons why we're like, yeah, let's, everyone's telling us to do this and we want to do this, that we know there's space for it.
Yeah.
So why not? And you're easy to talk to. So aside from that, so I think that's been the biggest plus. For better has been the fact that we have two beautiful, amazing children, Zanny and Ava, and we've had a lot of great highs with the for worses in there. So
Yeah. Yes.
we've had a lot of for worses and some tragic for worses, but the for betters truly have outweighed the bad days.
I agree. So for those that, are thinking about marriage, not married yet, or, they're still curious from that side, when you go back to yourself 27 years ago, the four worst parts, what parts really are harder than you thought that they could be? I mean, obviously, when you're getting married, you've seen other couples, you've seen their ups and downs, but you kind of don't know it till you live it. What would you say was definitely harder than you thought it was going to be?
The broke days were probably the easiest days because I think we were young and dumb, and we made something out of nothing. And those memories and experiences that was life.
Yeah.
What was the question again?
What things, when you talk about the four worst, which parts are harder than you thought they were going to be?
Aside from the loss of Zanny, Avi, right? The hard parts, I think, have always been family.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm a pleaser by nature, so always trying to, and I'm speaking of extended family.
Oh.
Always trying to accommodate and make sure that we're doing, and I finally came to a point, you mature and you get older and you're like, no more. So I don't know. That's probably been the hardest for me because I grew up with Leave It to Beaver and I Love Lucy and Mary Tyler Moore. Those were my shows. And so I had this false sense of what a holiday would look like and this picture perfect. That shit doesn't exist.
That's a real shift. Yeah, talk.
It's we've had great moments, but yeah, that it doesn't exist. So it's funny. I mean, we're yes. Remember the bag I bought? I went to TJ Maxx and I was like, "Look at this bag I bought." They have those reusable bags, and life is truly this. And it stood out to me. There was all these cute bags because I secretly am a hoarder of bags.
So many bags.
And this isn't purses, this is shopping bags. The good ones, anyhow, that I don't use again. So anyhow, the bag set has a picture and it says life on Instagram. And then the other picture next to it says real life. And it's like, picture perfect. And then, but the reality is like, it's a bunch of
life is messy.
It's messy, and that's just reality. So
yeah, but I think it's hopefully with the people you love,
mostly
for the I think for the harder parts, right, is because what you don't see when you're 18 and getting married, or if you're 30 or 40, what you don't see too sometimes is those mediocre days where it's like you're just working, if it's Monday to Friday, and it's just day in day out. Sometimes it's just it can get mundane, and sometimes that can wear on you, especially when you're, I feel like I've got more to give, or you can go through a midlife crisis, and I feel like I've been through a couple of those.
A couple of motorcycles later,
and all those things in between, and I would say one of the other things that's been a topic for us over the years, I've gotten some great gifts for you, and I've gotten some duds. Not being a gift giver like naturally. I've learned. I've read books. Giftology is a great book out there. So is the love language. But it's the thought that you put into the gift. I've definitely bought my share of Circle K gifts the morning of, and that one maybe into the trash. But
No. Well, and once again, let's go back to that, because when we were first married, we were broke. Like
yeah, we gave blood.
I mean, we gave plasma, and we made that.
blood.
I mean, I know we share that story often, but we raced
Yeah.
to see who would be done the quickest, and you almost passed out. It was so funny. With the $50 that we got, we went to that, is it Harvey's? Because we were in Colorado.
No,
We had dinner at that one hamburger place, and then we went to go watch a movie. That was date night.
it's not
it was
Harvey's. It's the Whataburger
whatever
sister.
it's called.
It is. Yeah. Hardee's.
Hardee's.
Hardee's. Yeah, but we did that. We gave blood because we didn't have money.
Yeah.
But you did what you had to do. But I mean, I think, like you said, those were good moments.
Those were good moments, and the things you would give me back then. You would write a lot of poetry, and you were really expressive, and there was no Chat GPT, and you actually wrote it.
Thank God for Chat GPT.
No, because that is a bunch of crap. You wrote some pretty amazing stuff. Just like, what was the box that you opened the other day? We're like, let's clean out the garage, one box at a time, because we have boxes in there from San Diego. And you found a card you'd never given me, and I was like, oh my gosh, it almost like made me fall in love again.
It was a good card. So, I mean, so we're talking about relationships. We're talking about marriage, 27 years. It's only taken me 10,000 days to get better in some of these areas. But if I could give any advice, if we can give any advice, I think we'd both say, and it's something that we still work on, is communication, right? So from a real shift, a paradigm shift, I think we talk every day, but everybody's not always listening, right? So that's something I really try to work on. And I do swear sometimes you say something and I heard nothing.
Oh, I know you didn't hear nothing.
So, I mean, I work on active listening, but communication is real. I mean, and so I guess as we wind down here, what would that tip or insight be for you, after 27 years, what's your keys to being a good communicator in a marriage to somebody that, you see every day?
Well, from Debra when I was 10, 27 years ago. No, just kidding. The child bride. Obviously not. I'm older than you. From that Debra to the now four lives over?
Yeah. So the thought is your body, every cell in your body regenerates. You're regenerating millions of cells every day. But every 7 years you have a completely new body. Right. Every cell, including your brain, your bones, everything else. So it's almost four different people.
Communication definitely key, and it's the listening. Like now, I think I pause, or I will wait until the next day if something's happened, or make sure that we're alone or in the room, or to talk about it, and to come at it, to come to you with a hey, this happened, versus like, what the hell, I can't believe this happened. So the way I approach you, now I don't always do it well, and vice versa, right? Because we're not
human,
perfect,
and things are messy.
But I've now recognized the way I communicate with you, how I start a conversation has everything to do with, are we going to get somewhere in this conversation? Are we just going to say whatever? And
every conversation's different degrees depending on what we're talking about, right? If we're talking about taking out the trash, or we need paint here, or we want to do something here, that level of conversation versus something that's very intense, that may be about an implied meaning, or did you mean to say, or
you made me feel.
I think that the tone, the intent, listening for the intent, even beyond the words, right? You coming in the door, me coming in the door. Is it a happy mood? Is there
27 years later, now I
Yeah.
know that when I want a honeydew done, it's, babe, can you put this on your list? Because we just had this conversation 2 weeks ago. I'm like, what the heck? you're like, you didn't tell me to put it on the list. So now everything I say is, can you take your list out? And I mean it.
It does help.
The one thing that we can agree on, though, is that when it does come to things in the house, we call someone to do it.
For a lot of the things, I'm gonna get electrocuted. But yeah, so I guess on that note, communication is a key. I mean, I think a lot of people fall in love, they get married. Staying in love, a lot of that groundwork is the communication. It's the day to day.
And we're not relationship experts. We're just experts in our own relationship. And
I would say I'm not an expert in anything, but I'm just
we're experts
somebody
in our own life.
who's
No one knows it
learned
better
with some
than
bumps
us.
and bruises is sharing some tips. Communication is so
Communication is key. And I don't remember what I was going to say.
Well,
it's okay.
Well, this is our first talk, so babe, congratulations to you.
Congratulations to you.
27 years.
So happy. Cheers.
And we are very, very blessed in all the good times, the bad times, the mediocre times in the middle. You know, we have each other until death do us part.
And thank you for an amazing anniversary vacation to the Dal.
Yeah.
Hotel Dal, my favorite hotel.
Well, guys, we really appreciate you sitting in with us for our first episode of many more to come. We hope you'll like and subscribe, share it with a friend. We'll just be talking real here. Again, we are not certified experts on what we're saying, but we have learned some things on this journey of life, and we are happy to share it. And our hope is that it helps somebody in some way make that shift to help, whether it's for your mental health, relationship help. This is our hope, and we're here. We're here.
Do you want to give them a quick teaser for episode 2? What are we talking about?
So, quick teaser for episode 2. We are going to be talking about grief, our journey, some of the biggest takeaways, some of the tips that really helped us get off the mat when we felt like we couldn't. So we hope you'll tune into that one. If you know somebody who could benefit from that, we hope you'll like, listen, and share. And we have many more to come.
Yes. Have a good one.
All
good
right.
night.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
I didn't even know how many days it was. That's good. That's
So
good.
with that in mind, I mean, why now? What's your take on why we're doing this?
Well, when we moved out to Arizona about 13 years, I know, that's when, like, 2009 is when we started using Facebook, and then we moved out here in 2010, and it's like, how are we going to, keep in touch with everyone? So I'm a sharer by nature, and came up with that we did a hashtag, Leon Times, because when the whole hashtag thing, started on Facebook and Instagram, and so we've been using that, and then we would hear, those comments from some people like, you guys share everything. You're always sharing. You really need to not take so many pictures and enjoy the time, enjoy the moments, right? There was those people that said, but then on the other hand, there's people that were just like, thank you for being so transparent, good and bad days. And so we were like, oh, we had talked, we should do something with this maybe later. And then about 4 years ago, this October,
Yep.
we had some real shift.
Yeah. Zan, our son, transitioned. Yeah, he was 20 years old, so he's forever 20.
Forever 20.
And our daughter, Ava, and definitely changed our lives. And so this podcast, the Real Shift podcast, it's that play on words that we don't know what's going to happen today or tomorrow.
Right.
Real shift happens, but at the same time, we are still going forward.
Right. And I think that's when we'd said, we started, well, we were talking, and not even 24 hours later, breathe. It was, I need to go outside and walk. And in that, I remember now asking you, do you mind if I go live? Like, we need to share. And since then, the impact that we've made just in telling our story, the journey, and all those things, Monday nights, Motivation Monday. We did that for a while wherever we were at, mainly here at home. Then through COVID, and I just, it's time.